So I kind of want to get a fuse, but
What's a fuse? Like a fuse for a light or something?
The fuse for the dynamite, you know?
You're in the house, and the lights go out, and then your wife wakes up, and she goes, honey, change the fuse.
And you go, oh. And you go, not now, Margaret.
And she's like, change the fuse. I'm watching the television. And then it's like, fuse.
I'm watching my stories.
And it goes right. It goes right into first person mode, and it's like you, and you're sitting up in bed. And it's like, find the fuse, and you walk over to the cabinet.
You have to get a ladder. You have to make sure you get a +2 courage.
Yeah.
Against your wife.
Your kids are fighting with each other. Stop them before you put the fuse in the box.
Do you
beat your kids, or do you tell them nicely to stop?
It would be like discipline ? And you can hit them. +2 strength.
But in the background, you still hear your wife, change the fuse. Fuse.
Achievement unlocked.
I just like the idea of the DLC being just like different places. Like you're at the hardware store.
Gotta
the
change
lights go out. Your store clerk goes, change the fuse. Fuse.
I hope that the end game is like you're at like the end game is the Super Bowl where the lights go out.
You have to change 30 fuses.
But they don't have a lot of money for the voiceover, so it still sounds like your wife. Change the fuse.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Gregg. Hey.
Hi, John.
Hello. AwayCast 009. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Josh, you there with us?
I'm here.
Hi, Josh.
What up, yo?
How is everybody? Everybody hungover from Memorial Day? Everybody have a good one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gregg? Yeah? Did you do nothing like I did? Played a lot of video games.
I didn't do anything.
Josh?
I played a lot of video games.
Yeah, me too,
good.
dude. Yeah, it's a good thing. You have to clean up before the new consoles come out, you know?
It's actually very true. And I was very far behind in my play schedule, so I've been doing a lot of keeping up with that. I watched the new season of Arrested Development. I haven't watched all of it, but just the first half of it.
Yeah, me too. I watched about 5 episodes. Are
you digging it?
It's disjointed at first, but I'm getting to the point now where things are starting to come together. What's cool about the comeback is I think a lot of people didn't expect them to not totally harp on past events. They're kind of creating their own little thing here. Like a standalone season, you know?
Yeah, it's actually really, I kind of agree with you. I think the first 3 episodes, I was like, but now like jokes are starting to overlap and play with each other, and they're kind of going back to some of the earlier episodes in the season and stuff that I think what they do really well and what they've always done really well is they'll drop a joke in like the first episode of a season and then bring it back like 6 or 7 episodes in and explain why that's funny. Like the whole thing about the ostrich being in the house is actually getting really, really funny.
Right. Well, what's cool is they're showing at the beginning of each episode, I'm sure you noticed that they go, this is Michael's Arrested Development, and this is Tobias's. So they're doing different point of views. So you're seeing the same timeline, different point of views, which is cool.
Yeah.
And it's getting super meta with Ron Howard.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like eating itself. It's like Arrested Development's the Ouroboros of TV shows right now. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, I think it's going to end really strong. Just kind of, it's getting better and better with each episode.
Yeah, it's interesting. But a lot of people have different views, I'm just excited to see the end. And I've watched probably about 5, I think. So.
And then I watched, this is really weird, but I fucking love Ken Burns, the documentarian Ken Burns. And I've been watching, because it's Memorial Day, I started getting a little patriotic. No, I watched the World War II one that he did, which is, Ken Burns is the man. He's awesome.
How was it?
It's awesome. Like, he's so good at, like, what?
Said who won? And then I laughed at myself.
Aliens won. But yeah, he's just very insightful in the stuff that he does, and I just love that he pulls from real footage, real accounts. It's awesome.
I like it, but I always get really tired like halfway into it. It just like the pacing of it just makes it's like a lullaby of wonderful information, and you just start to fall asleep.
Like you're making me do
I used
right
to
now.
watch them. I actually watched a shit ton of his documentaries at work, which was the perfect place to do it because it wouldn't distract me with like crazy visuals or anything like that. You could just basically listen to it.
Yeah.
There's an 11 episode, 22-hour baseball documentary he did. And
you watched every single one.
I actually have. But my friend, like, I was like, yeah, dude, he did this like really awesome baseball documentary. Friend watched like 15 minutes and he like sent me a text and he's like, fuck you, this is terrible.
Like, no way, I'm not committing myself.
Yeah, I can't do 22 hours of this drone on baseball.
So everyone had a really eventful Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
I drank Coors Light and played Gears of War.
Did you drink Coors Light by choice?
My friend, we had some people over yesterday to watch Arrested Development. We actually made frozen bananas. They're not exactly...
That's awesome.
Yeah, we made frozen bananas, had ice cream sandwiches. It was cute. But we had beers left over, so I drank a bunch of Coors Light today and played Gears because nobody calls me anymore. I don't have friends. Ah. So, what about you, Greg? Any insightful? Your internet's been down at your apartment.
Yeah, I've had no internet for like 3 days.
And how's that going? Like, you can't handle it, right?
It sucks. It's like I keep telling myself that I can handle it. Like, I don't need internet. I don't need it. I can do other stuff, and I'll start to do something else.
I'm going to read Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, I'll look over at a book or something. Like, I'm going to read. I'm going to sit here and just relax and read. And then immediately, without even thinking about the situation, I have my computer open and I'm like hitting Reddit, refresh. I'm like, why isn't this working? Why isn't it working?
You totally forgot that seconds ago that the internet was out.
And we do that over and over again for like the past 3 days.
What happened? Why is your internet out?
Because my landlord at my new place, he was letting me use his internet, but I think his router can only connect like two devices at a time. Because there's always IP conflicts, and then for the last 3 days, it wouldn't even let me connect to it at all. I'm getting my own internet in a couple of days. The guy's coming to hook it up, so I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Moving on up.
Yep, moving up.
Becoming a big boy, getting your own internet.
My own internet.
You get to name it. You get to name your own network.
I'm going to name it.
Make your own password.
Greg Jr.
Greg.
Name it Carl. Or Carl. Carl's cool.
I'll name it Carl. Greg Carl Jr.
I find myself doing that all the time with my phone when I know I don't have service. I click the email button to check my emails, and then there's no email. No email.
It's like that when you're like really hungry and you go to the fridge and you open it and there's nothing in it
and you
close
stare at it.
And you kind of like walk around the kitchen and you go back to the fridge, you open it again, you look around and close it, and you do it for like...
But there's a shit ton of food in there, and you're like, I don't want to eat any of that.
Not even that. Usually you have to like look and be like, well, I don't want to have to make that,
right,
or have to start opening this to get that. I kind of just want something really quick I can grab.
Well, that's because if you ever notice, if you buy like a 12-pack of soda or a drink, like you'll finish that before the open 2-liter you had before you bought the 12 cans, because you can just grab.
You don't have to put all that time and effort into opening the bottle. Grabbing the glass, pouring the soda,
ice option.
Oh yeah, forget it. I mean, it's so much easier just to grab that can.
Yeah, Same with water.
This is the battle I fight every morning before I go to work. Is like I open up the fridge and I'm like, do I want to like make a sandwich for lunch? I'll just buy lunch at work.
Yeah.
And because I know that I'm really terrible about this, I'm like, I need to get something quick that I can just grab, throw in my bag, walk out the door, and just instantaneous, and that I'll actually eat. So it also needs to be like, I don't want to put it in the microwave when I get to work. I want to open it and eat it. So I started buying Lunchables.
There you go.
I was just gonna like make fun and say you should buy Lunchables, but it turns out you already beat me to the punchline of my joke.
You can make fun. I understand.
So, but you don't get the ones with the pizza sauce, right?
Yeah, I get the ones with pizza.
What?
No.
I do. I actually I like all of them except for like the traditional crackers.
Oh, you know why, John? Because that's what the Chicago pizza tastes like.
Deep dish. But how do you open up that like military ration grade factory sealed ragu paste and actually put that on a cracker and say this is going to be a delicious meal?
It's like a pita bread crust. They give you like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like a pita bread.
But the sauce is like, you can't get any more industrial food than that.
No, I mean, it's true. It's fucking terrible.
He doesn't debate it. It's the best part. He's just like, no, it's
equivalent to those Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like, have you ever had those?
Yeah, I've had those.
Ugh, they're absolute industrial. Like, the peanut butter almost tastes grainy. Like, the jelly's always soaked through the bread. It's absolutely disgusting.
Because it came out of like an 8,000-gallon vat that they just kind of squeezed on with a machine.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no argument for the quality of meal that Lunchable is delivering to you. There's no argument there. The only thing I can say is that the reason why I can eat it is because I literally just take it out of your bag, tear open the top, now you're committed to it.
Yeah.
And so it's doing that instead of, spending $10 on whatever offer.
You're a man of your word. You commit when you get Lunchables.
I just have to open up if I open up the package, then I'm in. I can't back out.
Do you have a Capri Sun with that?
I started drinking them without the Lunchable. I'm so excited about Capri Sun. I took them out of the box and drank them at home.
You know what's awkward? Have you ever tried to cut open a Capri Sun and pour it in a glass? Doesn't taste the same.
Oh, really? It tastes weird, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. You know what,
I can
dude?
see that.
It tastes exactly the same, but
that little straw makes it better when you drink. You drink with a little straw,
and it lasts really long. Because when you really look at it, there's like a shot of drink in a Capri Sun.
Also, it's probably not that good. So when you drink with that little straw, you don't get so much of it at once.
Right,
just enough to. Yeah. But when you drink a gulp of it, it's like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah,
You guys remember Sunny Delight?
Hey, Sunny D is good. Sunny D is like a little thick though, because it's not really OJ. It's like the equivalent of Yoo-Hoo for chocolate milk. It's like Yoo-Hoo. That's
an apt comparison.
Yeah, Yoo-Hoo is chocolate drink. Right.
I always wanted
it's
to.
Like water. It's like chocolate water.
It says it on the bottle.
Yeah,
it says chocolate drink.
Yeah, chocolate drink.
In the Capri Sun commercials, back when Capri Sun was like a big thing, the kids would always liquefy themselves.
The mercurial people. The mercurial so cool. Alex Mack.
Is always what I was like. That's the coolest thing. If I drink Sunny D, I'll turn into liquid.
The way you said that, it sounded like people were actually doing that. You're like back when Capri Sun, back in the day, the kids they were all turning into liquid. I'm like, what?
Whoa!
Just at lunch, every kid opens up their Lunchable and sips on their Capri Sun, turns into liquid.
They're
out of the gym.
They're rollerblading.
Josh is upset because he never gets a Lunchable. Everyone's liquid around him, and he just wants to be liquid.
He always had Sunny
D.
D.
Solid kid here at school.
I want to be liquid.
Okay, good time to digress from our lunchtime speak, huh? You been gaming lately, Gregg or Josh? Gregg first.
Not really this week.
You played a little Blood Dragon, right?
Yeah. I honestly, I was just doing all the garrisons, and
that's the best part.
And just the side quest. I finished all the side quests and the garrisons today.
Oh, you finished them all?
Yeah.
Good. The end of the story is really fun.
I was so pissed. I was up to I forget the name of the. I should know because I kept having to look at it. But at the end of the mission, you have to fight these two blood dragons at once, and then because he's trying to. There's some other guy which I didn't get to, like some other thing he wants to unleash on me.
Yep.
But I was playing it last night, and I was so tired when I got to that point that I couldn't put the effort into killing these two blood dragons because it's like you gotta like throw the hearts, wait, kill them, and it's just too much. So I'm just gonna stop here and turn it off. It said last checkpoint. That's where it would go to. But what it does with Blood Dragon is if you stop at any point during the quest,
it brings you back to garrison.
It brings you back to the beginning of the quest, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing the quest now because I don't want to go through that again. And that's why.
Dude, that's a killer for me. Like if I ever, especially if it's not my fault, like if the game glitches or something like that, and I have to start all the way back at the beginning of something, I'll get so pissed off. That could be a deal breaker for me.
Definitely.
Dude, checkpointing is a huge deal breaker. What was the game I was playing? I brought it up a few weeks ago. Man, what the hell was the name of it? You can manipulate time. Anyway,
Singularity?
Is it Singularity? Yeah, Singularity. You're right. Yeah. So I was playing that for this was a few weeks ago now, probably 45 minutes, just doing everything perfectly, and I died, and it sent me way the fuck back, and I don't even know if I'm going to play it anymore. Yeah. Like, it's that much of a deterrent.
You just don't want to redo all that stuff, especially when you're doing awesome. See, the thing is, when I started playing that mission last night, I was like really into it. So I was throwing the dice, I was sneaking up, I was fucking killing everybody with a knife, I wasn't letting myself get hurt.
Right.
Like I was like really into it.
A lot of effort.
Yeah, exactly. I got to the end, it just felt like flawless, like good flow right to the end. And I was like, I just can't play anymore. I'm tired. Now, if I go back and do it, I'm definitely not doing it like that.
No
again.
way.
I'm going to use that fucking machine gun, that chain gun, and I'm just going to run through the whole thing.
That's
like
the best thing.
Yeah, I clear all the garrisons out with that. I don't even care about the alarms. I go in there with that machine gun.
Fuck it, bro.
Yeah, fuck the alarms.
Fuck the alarm.
I always go in just guns. Like, it's part of a problem when I have to play stealth games because I'm so terrible at stealth. Because I am a shoot first, ask questions later type of guy, especially playing video games. And so whenever, like, given the option, like doing Far Cry 3 and Far Cry Blood Dragon both do a great job of setting up those options. And I just always go in just capping everyone. Running around, not ignoring cover, no strategy.
I realize that it takes me pretty much just as much time every time. Like especially the garrisons. Like you would think that it would be you'd be able to clear the garrison out quicker if you you're gonna go disarm the alarms and then kill like the 4 guys that are in there. And you're like, I guess that'll be faster than having to kill off all of the reinforcements. Mm-hmm. But realistically, it's like the same amount of time because you spend so much time like waiting and sitting and trying to like figure out which way to go when you're being stealthy. It's like the same thing.
I think for me, I think you said it, Greg, where you do stealth for about half, and then the half that after you disable the alarm. For me, Blood Dragon same thing with a lot of games. It's just like a power fantasy kind of. When I make sure I do it as badass as possible.
Yeah,
that's really it. Whatever it takes to be badass.
Are you looking for the TV sets and the videotapes and the whatnots?
Yeah. Well, I bought all the maps, so I'm just running around grabbing them now. They tell you where they are, so
it's absolutely crazy. But like Far Cry does an amazing job of taking those Monday things and making them feel rewarding. Like,
those Monday things.
Monday.
Hey, it works. It works.
It does work. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just as a person who's not a completionist, I very rarely go hunting for the extras or go back and try to find all the little collectibles. But with that game, like Far Cry 3 and Blood Dragon, I just found it to be weirdly relaxing.
Yeah.
It's much better as a person who's the opposite, who likes to collect all that stuff. It's so much better the way they do it, because no matter what I'm looking at a guide online anyway, or people are looking up guides, you're better off just having people unlock the ability to have an in-game guide.
It takes away a lot of stress when I know that I'm not going to miss this stuff.
Dude, so much. Yeah. Exactly. When you're going through a single-player campaign, even if it's linear, but you have like a few paths to go down, people posted online how it shows the correct way path, like in BioShock Infinite. We just mentioned it again, sorry. You can go left. It tells you to go straight, but you go left and right, obviously, to try to find voxophones. It just, I don't know. Sometimes it takes away. Anyway, Josh, Resident Evil, you've been playing it.
Yeah, Resident Evil Revelations. Have you beat it yet?
No, I'm actually kind of stuck right now, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Are you a traditional Resident Evil fan?
Huge Resident Evil fan.
Hey, you're in good company.
Yeah, I fucking love Resident Evil 2 was it was like
hang on. Greg is being a little skeptical right now about how deep your fandom goes.
What?
Greg,
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say anything, but I can see it in your face. State your case.
Hold on, Josh. See Greg. I got you on camera, Greg.
Oh, right, you can see me.
State your case, Greg. Come on, step up to the mic.
I can fucking see. He's looking right at me. I'm like,
you forgot you're on Skype?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just 5 or 6 podcasts ago, we were talking about Resident Evil.
Look at Josh when you talk to him.
Let me get my
Look me in the eyes.
I'll stay out of this for a second.
We were talking about Resident Evil, and I think me and John started doing quotes from the first Resident Evil. We started doing some quotes, and you got terribly silent, as if you didn't like us doing quotes. Or you didn't know him. And I said to myself,
how terrible the dialogue is in the first Resident.
You ignored it. You didn't even joke around with us about it.
You guys are on a flow. You
funny
had a flow
thing.
Going.
That's a funny thing. You stepped out on it, and it made me think.
No. You guys had a flow.
Who the fuck is this guy? Huh? Who is this guy?
Greg's looking at me.
Here, I can prove to you that I know dialogue from the first Resident Evil because the quintessential quote, the best part of the writing in Resident Evil is when you find the guy in the jail cell and Jill Valentine asks him, she says, "Will you wait here for me?" Like, he's in a jail cell. Where's he going to go? And you come back and he's gone.
You know what? That's a line that I kind of forgot.
Yeah,
so,
I guess it's more of a scene than a...
Yeah.
I know the part, though, where the dogs and you go down to the sewer.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The
That
fertilizer.
being said, I will also say that Resident Evil 2 was my entry into the franchise.
Oh, really?
I had to go play Resident
That
Evil
makes
1.
sense.
What is that supposed to mean?
Because, I mean, we were saying some pretty important quotes. They're important to life.
Right. They were the opening. They were the first things
They're
you
important
experienced.
to everything that happens in the world.
A lot of the basis of my life.
Yeah.
A lot of my successes come from the inspiration.
Wow, what a mansion. In case you, the master of unlocking, you were
Right.
almost a Jillbit sandwich. What is it? It's blood. Maybe it's Chris's blood.
It is.
You know, these things, it's unacceptable that you don't know them. It's completely unacceptable.
Now, so when I first played the original Resident Evil, there was a FMV cutscene at the beginning, like it was live action.
Yeah, that's great. And they're running from the dogs.
Yes, yes.
That's really good.
And then the blood at the end, it's like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Everything about that game is fantastic. I remember my dad brought that home. He used to get he used to work in the city when he was a cop, and he used to bring home games sometimes for me. He used to probably get them from like some guy where they fell off a truck. And I was really young. I think it must have been 95, right?
96.
96. Well, no.
I got it Christmas in 96.
Right, because in the beginning of the game it says July, Raccoon City Incident, July 1998, right?
Yeah.
Some shit like that. Anyway, I remember getting that huge box with Chris on the front and the big spider, and I was scared. And I went upstairs, put it in my PlayStation, started playing it, got to the part where you're in a long, ominous hallway.
Oh, yeah, the dog window.
The dog window. I fucking hit the ceiling.
Dog window. See, Josh, he has nothing to say because he doesn't remember the dog window.
Josh, the dog window is probably one of the best moments of gaming that I can ever remember in my whole life.
And you don't know it, Josh. You don't know it. What are you doing, Josh?
Here's
How do
my-
you
here's my-
wake
Hold
up
on,
in
let
the
him-
morning?
let him retort.
How the fuck do you wake up in the morning? Jesus.
Very shamefully. And then I put my feet on the floor and go on.
So what do you have to say, Josh?
But so, like, you know, playing Resident Evil 2 before I played the original Resident Evil, the part with the liquor where the liquor's crawling on the wall like you're walking for and there's the dripping blood on the ceiling.
Leon.
That
yeah.
is like, that was the equivalent for that. It was me and 3 of my friends playing that game. When we really shouldn't have been. Our parents definitely did not approve of anything that game did.
I loved Resident Evil too.
Yeah, it's a good
But yeah, that part scared the shit out of us.
Did you ever kill Brad Vickers? Get the secret key? Get
change your outfits.
Get Leon's motorcycle outfit? Josh, once again, sitting here in shame
Son
and
of
silence.
A bitch.
I am a huge Resident Evil fan.
2 was great. It was a game, and it was it had the liquors in it, right? He's like Wikipediaing it right now. Liquors, they were scary.
Wesker.
Yep. You can just pile that right on.
Sorry.
I beat that game fucking 4 times, twice as Leon, twice as Claire.
So did you play Resident Evil 1 ever?
Yeah, I went back and played it.
Did you play it on GameCube?
We had it for GameCube, but
All right,
I'm killing Gregg over here. Mine and Gregg, we were establishing our friendship, but it's probably on the rocks now.
It's on the rocks.
we'll get over it. It'll be all right. But
okay. So go ahead, Josh. This is your.
Continuing on beyond the first 2 Resident Evils,
right.
I also played 3 and Code Veronica. And Code Veronica, did you guys play Code Veronica?
Yes,
I
I
did.
did.
And it had the weird
On Dreamcast.
incestual villains and cross-dressing. It was a bizarre villain in that game. That's the only. That's
I'm trying
the
to
only
remember
thing
the
that can
main
come out.
villain. I can't remember the main villain in Code Veronica.
They had like really like blondish white hair. And then they talked really funny. And because it was a guy who had like this like he would always laugh really high pitched, and me and my stepbrother suspected that he might be
homosexual.
Yeah, he might be homosexual. When he's not making out with his sister.
When you're saying that, it reminds me of the dude from Asura's Wrath. Did you ever play Asura's Wrath?
No. I did not
Okay,
play.
so never mind. So
But anyway, so Revelations falls very much into the same category as many Resident Evil games do these days, where it like starts off as a throwback to the old games with the very decadent style. Like you're in this luxurious cruise liner and everything is like empty and haunted and slow paced, but it just can't help itself from being that like current Resident Evil where all of a sudden you're part of the bioterrorism fight and everyone's using super technology and there's this floating city in the sky that's destroyed by a sun laser.
What's wrong with floating cities in the sky?
Oh, Christ.
Here we go. I opened the wrong door.
So listen, Lighthouse. So Resident Evil Revelations was a 3DS game first.
Yes.
Correct. So you can see as you're playing through it, because I'm playing through it as well, you can see that there's some remnants of it in there. When you're picking up items and the huge A button and certain mini games, like when you're opening the doors and you have to move the little nodes, you can tell those are all designed for touch.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it so far. What's funny? I'm playing 6 alongside of it, just because I never played 6, and I know it was critically condemned, but I wanted to play it anyway because I just feel like I had an obligation to, since I'm a big Resident Evil fan and I've played all of them, including 1, starting at 1, which is important.
It's pretty important because it's the first one. It kind of sets the foundation for the rest of
right.
Of the way.
Like normally
the
when something comes out and it says 2 on it, I wait.
Or I'll go, you know what? I gotta play 1.
Gotta play 1 first.
Whatever.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it, Josh. So go on. Tell me a little bit more before I retort with my entire feeling on it.
Okay. Well, I'm basically it's serviceable and it does a pretty decent job with its mechanics. It's definitely I played the demo for Resident Evil 6 and I felt that the mechanics were just super clunky. Feel that Revelations is much improved in that regard. But by the end of it, I got to the final boss and sat there and played that for maybe an hour and then I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I just don't care. I don't care enough to try and deal with this end boss to find out what happens. They're just dead for me. They can die here.
What system did you play it on?
PlayStation 3.
Did you play raid mode at all?
No. Is it fun? Did you play it?
Yeah, I did. But with the single player, we'll start with there first.
And I will say that for Resident Evil games to me are single player games. I don't play them for any sort of multiplayer.
Right. I start obviously in, what was it, 5 was the first one you could play co-op? Oh, 4.
Mm-hmm. No, 5. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, it's 5.
5.
Yeah, 5.
Oh, okay. Because you and I played that together, Greg.
Yeah.
But I, like I said earlier, I played Resident Evil 6 alongside Revelations, and I guess it made Revelations shine in comparison because Resident Evil 6 is a very bad game.
Yeah.
It's from its really shitty QuickTime events. I played a co-op with my buddy, and there's times where I'm doing a co-op a QuickTime event, and he's standing there doing nothing. So I'm QuickTiming, and in this moment of decision, and he's just has to wait for me to finish. Anyway, the game isn't very good. You said use the word serviceable before, sure, I guess. But playing Revelations definitely was a much better experience. I'm up to the part right now, Josh, we were talking about how I was kind of stuck. I'm up to the part with Rachel. You know what I'm talking about?
Rachel.
Okay, you pick up a book and she has hair in her face. And she's like, and she's saying, oh, doesn't that sound like a drugstore novel? You pick up a book. Her hair's in her face. You walk over gently.
What section of the ship are you in, or are you on the ship?
I'm on the ship. It's like this doctor's area, and I am.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's right, Rachel. I'm remembering that character.
All right,
the one who.
Right.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I'm playing it on normal. I have ammo in that game is not like Resident Evil 6 or more the action types. Ammo is kind of. I wouldn't say it's super rare, but it's definitely not superfluous. It's there's not that, and you can't buy ammo. There's not what are you buying guy, what are you selling guy anywhere. It's just it's whatever you pick up. So I'm at that part now where I have to pretty much deal with her a few times, right?
Yeah.
And in order to
did you just come back to her?
Well, I'm at the part now where I have to. She jumps into the vents. I don't want to talk too much about it, but anyway, I'm
with you.
I keep dying at this part, and I don't know why. Because by the time I get to her where I have to finally face her, I am out of ammo, and I don't know what to do. But anyway, that's just because I'm an idiot, I guess.
I'm an ammo hoarder in survival horror games. Like, I'll sit there and dodge everything and kill absolutely nothing until I absolutely have to. I
think for its price tag for $50, maybe a few bucks less, this game is definitely worth it, though. I'd rate it above 6 based on what I said, obviously, but there's parts when you're going through the cruise ship that really remind me of Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really cool.
And especially that hall, where it has that very I'm trying to think of the style. It's particular, but it's that very elegant mansion style, and it's the wooden banisters and the creepy organ music that's playing in the background. It's, all that stuff is really, really awesome. It's just like they cut away from what's happening on the boat to other locales around the world. And that's where it really loses me. Those two characters are fucking atrocious. The guy who has the it's the two rookies, and they one's codenamed Jackass, and I forget what the other one's name is.
I don't even remember. That shows how memorable they are.
Oh, they're really, really bad. Do you guys see Transformers 2?
Horrible. One of the worst movies ever.
Those two little Volkswagen cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the comic relief cars.
Those were the worst.
These two characters in Resident Evil Revelation specifically remind me of those characters.
They're like Harry and Marv.
Yeah, exactly. Just in the terrible back and forth they have, and it's
no. One thing they brought back that I liked is you can observe certain things. Like in the old Resident Evils, you can click on something and be like, a table. A table is here.
It's also really funny because they start out narrating or actually saying their internal monologue where she walks up to something. She's like, maybe if I find a conduit, I can get the electricity going. I'm like, this doesn't need to be voiced over. This can just be written.
Definitely not. Definitely streamline that stuff. I think it's definitely worth playing more than Resident Evil 6, which
if people are big Resident Evil fans, it should put it on your list. I think that it definitely fits into the Resident Evil canon very well. Like I said, it's a nice blend between the new Resident Evil and the old Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm. So raid mode is basically 2-player type of arcade mode where you level up and buy guns and unlock new missions. It's pretty cool. It's pretty much like they're attaching this grindy RPG type mode on the side with a friend, and it adds some challenge. Excuse me, it adds some challenge to the game, which is fun for a short time. But depending on how far you progress in the game itself, is how many levels you unlock. So I'm kind of at a point now where I'm stuck with that whole situation and stuck in raid mode. Furthermore, henceforth. For a fortnight.
It's really funny because I don't play. I don't really like multiplayer games for the most part.
I think you've made that quite clear, Josh.
But I've been playing a lot of Dust 514 this last week too, which is only multiplayer.
I'm not an EVE Online guy. Can you tell me what Dust 514 is doing?
Yeah, so basically, EVE Online, for people who don't know, is this incredibly in-depth, massive multiplayer online RPG where basically you are a captain of your own ship and you get together. Instead of guilds, you're joining corporations, and you basically are waging wars against other corporations for mining rights. And a lot of people who start playing the game just run their own mining company. And
EVE Online is incomprehensible in terms of how large and how much of the depth and the commitment it takes for these people to run these corporations. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's insane. And I did a article where basically they have a online forum where people just tell their own personal stories. And I basically compiled these stories and put them into an article, and it's just incredibly fascinating. People are commenting on quote unquote historical events that happened in the game because it's been going for 6 years.
Josh, they're turning that into a TV show.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cool. It's incredibly interesting just to listen to these people tell their stories and like about, how they were exploring the galaxy completely alone and met up with this corporation. They kind of formed this friendship where they were helping each other out on the far fringes of the universe. Or another person tells a story about how he was desperately trying to fight off this armada that took him by surprise. And it's
crazy. It's like talking old war stories, but that they're not.
And it's none of it exists. And I don't know, it's the brilliant type of nerd that I don't have the time for, but desperately admire. I wish I could be that nerdy. I just don't have the time for it.
There was talks about, people just living their lives through creating, like running these corporations, and people in real life would, while say like a big battle was coming up, they would have people like in real life go to people's houses and like turn their power off and stuff like that. Have you heard of anything like that?
I've heard that there are people who are actually making money online who don't even have an Eve account, trading secrets between corporations.
It's insane. Yeah, it's a whole culture.
I think the biggest thing like that shows you how amazing that game is the guy, I'm gonna say his name wrong, but it was like Dire Rat or something like that, who was actually a U.S. diplomat killed in Benghazi.
Oh yeah,
he was a huge EVE Online player, and he actually like would find these people who like they have diplomats in the game who would negotiate truces and border laws between these corporations, and he would find these people and be like, hey, you have the preliminary skills to help the U.S. State Department. You should look at a job in the State Department. And like actually recruit them.
Can you just make an account and be like a pirate
and just run around killing whoever you want?
Yeah,
I think playing that game, you're depending on pretty much the lifeblood of your corporation. Like you have to join a corporation and you start as nothing, and you need the support of people. Like you can't just go in and start fucking with people.
Can you make like a corporation that's like a bad corporation and just fucking try to like. I mean, is it just like is it like analytics, the game, or do you actually kill shit?
It's definitely a spreadsheet game where...
Yeah, do you destroy things?
Yeah. Well, when there's these battles, they're a big deal. Like, they happen like once a month.
But do you have to schedule the battle? Can I just be like, fuck, let's go to that corporation, fucking destroy it?
Something will spark the battle, and they last such a long term. Like, sometimes they last full days. I don't know.
You can't just go like sneak attack someone. You can't just be like, oh fuck that corporation right there. Let's go pirate fucking corp.
Okay, so I heard the story from Patrick Klepek from Giant Bomb. I don't know if you heard it, but he talks about how there's a ship called, I think, the Titan, right? Like each corporation, the most expensive ship to build is a Titan, and like if you gather resources and mine or whatever, because the whole thing is based on mining, it takes like the better part of a year for a whole corporation to gather all the money to build this Titan ship. Right? So this one corporation had a Titan ship, and they, on accident, the guy who was piloting the Titan ship hit a button on his computer, on total accident, hit a button on his computer that warped his Titan ship into the middle of an enemy territory, like right into the middle of it, and there's nothing you do. And everybody worked all year to build this Titan ship, spent hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months to create this thing. And this guy pressed the wrong key on his keyboard, and they destroyed resources that people worked for like a whole year for. And like,
what happens? I mean, is that guy kill himself in real life now? Is he?
Well, corporations, these people who do these corporations, they actually call each other on the phone to like verify, because they take it very seriously. So like if you want to be in my corporation, if you want to be in my corporation, I call you on the phone and I have to like make sure that you're okay to be in my corporation.
Like you want like a resume from me?
Yeah, they'll vet you. Like they'll actually do the research to make sure you're not a mold who's going to trade their secrets
from another corporation.
Oh, that's better than being a pirate. You have to sneak in.
It's real life though, man. It's fucking crazy. Like
that'd be fun. We should do that. That would be so much fun.
There has to be some dirty shit with Eve. Someone had to have gotten broken legs. I'm going
to make a living. I want to make a living for like 2 months as a spy trader in this game.
So
so
those are guys who were trying to
Eve Ponzi scheme where a guy actually like, so Eve has a economic system. It has its own stock market, and you can invest in corporations just like you can in the real stock market using online currency. And this guy ran a Ponzi scheme where he was like, he did some legitimate investing at first, gained attention on Eve. People started giving him their money to invest, and basically in the end, he just took all their money and ran. And like people complained to CCP, the developers, and were like, "This guy stole all my money. He took everything I have." And CCP's like, "Sorry, we can't help you." And you can actually buy ISK, which is the currency for Eve, on like eBay and stuff like that. So they did an estimate, and this guy probably stole somewhere around like $1,000 real dollars.
Jeez.
From these people.
Eve is pretty much what keeps the country of Iceland running. Like
Reykjavik, yeah.
Reykjavik specifically. They were talking about erecting a statue in Reykjavik for EVE Online, right? There's just like, it's insane. Look into, guys, we've been talking too long about EVE Online, but look into this stuff. It's really fascinating. It's like...
Yeah, so Dust 514 is basically like, there's all the space battles. Dust 514 are the land battles happening on the planet, and you're a mercenary who can be hired by corporations to fight, battles for these corporations. And it feels a lot like EVE in the sense that it's really, really dense. You can't buy anything to start off with. You need to put in probably 40 hours just to make yourself semi-cool. And at this point, no one has the funds or the ability to actually make themselves any better than anyone else. Like when I got in, everyone just had the standard issue weapons. One of the cool things about it, though, is every time you die, the idea is that you are basically taking your life essence and putting it into a clone. And so all the weapons that you had or anything like that, you lose them. You have to rebuy weapons every time that you die. And weapons are cheap enough.
There's no loadout or anything.
Well, I mean, unless you buy something specific for yourself.
Oh, okay.
But if you say you save up and you buy a really badass gun or something like that, if you die in the game, you lose that gun. There's no getting it back.
But how does it actually work? Is it just first person combat, or are we also, you're making it sound like the fact that you die and lose a weapon is a pretty dire consequence.
It could be.
So do you save up a really long time for this gun?
You can. Basically, especially when you're starting, I'm just starting out, you can only get standard issue. And I played for maybe 10 hours and was just starting to move outside of standard issue guns.
So you just pick up the controller. How do you introduce yourself into this game? Are you in combat right away, or are you?
No, you start off in this mercenary hub, which is basically like an apartment for your character, and you create a character. You decide which of the races you're going to be, what type of class you're going to be, stuff like that. And then you basically start off in this apartment where you can purchase things, load your outfits, things like that, chat. And ideally, I think they want Dust 514 to have the same mercenary groups, guilds, which are the equivalent to EVE's corporations, So you can band together a badass mercenary group that can be hired by these corporations to fight land battles. And if you have a corporate sponsor in the middle of a fight, you can call down aerial strike, and the people playing EVE Online can send down a beam that basically blows your competition away.
That's the part that I found most interesting. I heard that you can actually, someone else who's playing a completely different game, but the game that's relevant to yours, can be in a ship and attack the place that you're playing. That's awesome.
It's very cool. You can also do there's after you leave your apartment and before you go into battle, they give you 10 minutes to sit, not 10 minutes, 3 minutes to sit in this planning room, and they have a map on a table, and everyone can gather their characters around and plan the battle. And so you can say this is how we're going to fortify our defenses. This is how we're going to take point A. This is how we're going to take point B. The problem with both those things is that Dust 514 is so new that no one knows how to implement any of that stuff yet. The battle would start and 10 people would gather around this table, and you can basically just tell everyone's do you know how to work this? Do you know how to work this? And everyone's no, I don't fucking understand.
That'll come with time, though.
Exactly. So it's so new that, it's waiting for all the people to grasp to all the eclectic things that they have.
What I saw of it looked like they were streamlining it a bit to get people that are more inclined to the first person genre into the EVE universe. But the way you're talking about it, it sounds a lot deeper than it initially came off to me.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that if that's what you're looking for, if you're just looking to jump in and shoot people, you don't need to get into that, battle strategy corporation stuff yet. You may have to as the game goes on and people start understanding it more. But as of right now, like, I just hopped in and would just, literally turn off the sound, turn something on TV, and kind of watch TV as I played the game, just because I was looking for something mindless to do.
Right.
And so if you're looking for that experience, it totally plays to that as well. It feels a little bit, the actual combat feels a little bit like Battlefield, just like it's super expansive. It's a lot of running before you even see someone to shoot them.
Vehicle combat?
Yeah, there's a lot of vehicular combat involved. But it's fun. It's pretty well crafted. It's not as well crafted as Battlefield is, but I imagine CCP will continue to work on it.
Is it free to play?
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
And it takes, the only thing it costs you is the hour of your life that it takes to download.
Oh, so it's completely free to play. Like, you don't even have to buy it.
No, yeah, you just download it right offline.
That's interesting, but I mean, it sounds like the commitment to really enjoy that game that you'd have to put forth is a little more than
it's deep.
A lot of people would be willing to put forward.
It's one of those things. I wish that I had more time to really get into it and report back to you guys and let you know how deep the rabbit hole went, but I just don't. I don't have that time, unfortunately.
Did you guys just watched it here, the Destiny trailer? What'd you think, Greg? What'd you think of the Destiny trailer? Was it any good?
Yeah, it wasn't like anything in game, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was neat. It's cool to see Bungie doing that again.
It reminds me of Halo still a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but they had Gustavo from Breaking Bad who was narrating it. It was pretty cool.
And who directed it, Josh? Jon Favreau?
Yeah, Jon Favreau.
It was neat. I thought the visuals were cool too. It gives you an idea of what kind of classes maybe we'll see when the game comes out. But apparently at E3, PlayStation's getting that game at their conference. So I guess we can assume that there's going to be some exclusive stuff there.
See what's going on with these space wizards.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. It has my attention. It seems really ambitious and could be fun. I mean, there's been comparisons to Borderlands meets... Defiance meets what was the other big one? Well, obviously Halo. But that's one of the games that I'm excited for at E3. I played
the fact that Bungie's doing a new release, a name like Bungie kind of commands that respect. Where, like, let's face it, we're all probably going to be buying this game, within the first week that it's out. Right? I mean, is anyone sitting there? Is anyone on the fence about this?
I might skip this one and get 2.
Wow.
I'll get it.
Yeah, we're all going to get that one early.
No, we'll see what the release is. There's no. Is it? Did they guarantee this year or next year?
Is it 2014?
14?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Damn, I was hoping it'd be this year.
Yeah, that sucks.
I think it's a 2014.
This week I played another, speaking of Blood Dragon earlier, another $15 DLC gem. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger is the name of the game that I have been playing as of late. And you played it a little bit, Greg. You played it here.
Yeah, it was fun. I only played like arcade mode.
So I don't know if you guys have played the other Call of Juarez's, but they were good at first and then got a little bland. I like the Wild West thing. Red Dead obviously set the bar, but for $15, this game is really something, and I think everybody should play it. It's got a single player mode with the skill tree, leveling up. Kind of has the same thing as Red Dead, where you can slow down your shot, and you can like pick off a couple of guys while you're, what was it called in Red Dead? Like whiskey time? Some whiskey timer?
Something like that. I just want to fix what I said before. Destiny is going to come out at the end of this year.
Yay!
Which makes sense because it's going to be for 360. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're doing PS3 and 360 as well, right?
Yeah. At least that's what it says here. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One. That's what it says. But
Gunslinger has pretty cool graphics. It's like cel-shaded Wild West. I think the best aspect of the whole game is it reminds me of Bastion and the way the story is told. It's really fascinating. So it starts off as you're in a bar, in a saloon. Sorry, any Wild West nuts out there, don't get mad. But all the Wild West nuts. Yeah. You're in a saloon and you're pretty much this famous Silas whatever guy. I don't know. The name didn't stick. But everyone's like, tell us stories, Silas. And he's pretty much like drinking, telling the stories, and he's like fucking up the story. And as you're playing in first person, like the story is constantly changing. He'd be like, well, looks like I was shooting at them in a giant path in the canyon, came out of nowhere, and like it'll drop out of nowhere. And same thing when you're in Missouri, and he's like, out of nowhere I saw a steamboat, and a steamboat will pop out of nowhere. And based on like headshots and things that happen throughout the game, similar to Bastion.
Is it super stylized when it does that? Like, is it almost comical, or is it?
The tone is very funny because you hear, as he's telling the story, as you're playing the game, he's telling the story, and you hear the other dialogue from the people responding to him telling the stories. So there's a part where he's like, I was surrounded by 200 Apache Indians, and the guy's like, 200? And it's like, all right, maybe it's a few less than that. Like, it keeps a very light, airy tone as you're going through.
But when he says that stuff, when he's like, I saw a steamship, does like everything get weird on the screen? Like a steamship just like appears, like trippy kind of? Or
like it'll raise itself out of nowhere.
Cool.
I don't know if the Steam one did it, but it'll like...
stuff will just like come out of nowhere.
They do it so it makes sense. So the part I'm talking about right now with the Apaches, like there's guys all around you. So you're in this like a ravine, and you're shooting at the guys, and once you kill all the guys, it's like, then I saw a path emerge out of nowhere. So once you're done with that section,
right,
it's like a reasonable way to open the path for you.
Cool. Yeah.
And sometimes you'll play through a whole section, and one of the dudes would respond, be like, I read that in a dime novel, and it didn't much sound like that, and be like, maybe I messed up, and then it'll revert you back to the beginning, and you're playing it from a completely different section. Right. Listen, man, for a $15 title, just like Blood Dragon, I don't think anybody should miss this, despite the namesake of how Call of Juarez went. It's super fun. I think you should play it. And it has this really cool shootout mechanic that I still kind of fucking blow at. I get killed every time.
Yeah, I saw you doing that.
Yeah, it's tough. There's like this little way to concentrate. At the end, the boss battles are basically, what are they called? Not shootouts. Meet me at high noon.
Yeah, it's like Showdown.
Showdown. Is it a Showdown? Showdown.
Duel?
Duel? Yeah, I think it's a duel. It's a duel.
But there's like isn't like a Wild West name for it? Showdown.
I think it's a duel.
No, duel's a very medieval thing.
I think it's a duel.
I think it actually serves both time frames, time periods.
I don't know about that, guys.
Are we gonna look up duel? Look up duel, Greg.
No, I'm gonna look up something else.
It's called a duel. I challenge you to a duel.
A 1-on-1.
No, you're gonna do it that way.
In the Wild West.
It's definitely a showdown, obviously, but that's another term for it.
Or shootout. I'm trying to think.
It's not shootout. We sound so stupid right now. We sound so dumb.
No.
Look,
it's a duel.
I'm not involved in a lot of gun battles in the Wild Wild West.
So no, it's a duel when it comes to like Alan Burr and Alexander. What's his face? Was it Alexander?
Yeah, that's what constantly sticks out in my hand.
That's a duel.
Alan Burr and Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly.
I challenge you to a
duel. I challenge you to a showdown. That sounds like we're wrestlers, like showdown in the iron cage.
All right.
It's a duel. Man, what the fuck? There's a name for it.
Well, especially because, wasn't it might have been the original Red Dead Revolver, but there was a name for that mode. It would go into, Gunslinger mode is what you were thinking of earlier, Johnny.
When I type into Google, I challenge you to, I get duel, game of horseshoes, battle of wits, and children's card game.
I bet it's
those are all
children's
applicable.
Card game, probably.
All applicable.
I challenge you to a children's card game. That's funny.
All right.
I'm want to find the name of this. Damn it.
All right, let's move on. I'll look for it.
Anyway, get Call of Juarez. I think everybody should play it. I think it's really great. There's also an arcade mode where you have to keep your combo up and run through the game. Okay, everybody good with that?
Yeah,
we're okay with that.
Something draw.
Quick draw.
Well, Well, quick draw is what it's called when you pull it out.
I challenge you to a gunsling. I challenge you to a...
It's a duel, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, we gotta quit. We gotta quit. We're never gonna get this.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
If
we do find it out, you should just go back and edit it in. That's how we should.
Okay. It's not gonna happen.
We'll all fix this in post. We'll fix this all
It's
in
dual.
post.
Story, the 3 modes. I'm looking at it right now. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger. The 3 unique game modes, story, arcade, and duel. And that wasn't edited in. Speaking of duel, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. No?
It's getting there is mad hate out there about the Xbox One right now.
I can't believe the hate. I could believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unbelievable. It's just it is I don't know, like Microsoft has work to do, you know. I mean, they've painted themselves into a corner, and I think it's even less about what they revealed at the conference. I think it's even more what happened after the conference. And even if they don't, like, even if they're not actually going to have this DRM thing or this always online thing, the whole used game debacle, the biggest problem with what's happening right now is that they don't know what's happening right now. They need to come out and say these things.
Their damage control department needs to fucking wake up. Because I don't think what happened is that bad. I think people took it horribly, and the cattle are loose. They are running amok.
Well, and you compare that to, like, you know, PlayStation's having a field day right now because anytime someone comes up to them and talks about DRM always online, they're saying no comment. You know, we're still investigating those options at this time, and we'll be happy to.
But nobody's
explain
paying
it to you at a later
attention
date.
to that. People are just taking the knowledge that they have and going, "We hate this," rather than looking at the ominous knowledge that hasn't been stated yet. I think a lot of people went into waiting. The wait is what killed Microsoft, I think. I think if they did this the same time as PlayStation, it would have been easier, but everyone was waiting. Like, what does Microsoft have to offer for us? Let's see.
Well, on top of the wait, they also, like, these always online rumors started months ago.
Right.
And Microsoft couldn't even dispel them at that point. Well, they still can't, but even then they were completely mum because as far as they were concerned, there wasn't a new Xbox yet.
Right. Everyone was predisposed to hate it before the conference, and then the conference just gave them more reason to hate it. Something that's crazy to me, but, you know, down here on Earth, these conferences never existed before. These reveal conferences. The reveal was always at E3. They never had. Did they have reveals like this? Am I wrong?
No. Microsoft revealed the Xbox 360 at E3.
Same thing for PlayStation 3. Same thing for every console before that, I think. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But what drives me nuts about that is the fact that these companies are trying to get out ahead of themselves, being that it's 2013 and we have all these ways to talk directly to the consumer and to hold these events, and people are tweeting and blogging.
But that's why they do this. This is quality control for them. They throw their idea out there, and then they have time to fix it before E3. So they're gonna,
that's true.
They put that shit out there, and then they go, okay, what does everybody hate?
Right.
We're when we get to E3, we're gonna say we never said it's always gonna be online.
Absolutely.
This is what it's gonna be. You guys said you wanted this, and that's what we're doing.
That's what blows my mind about. I mean, we're all allowed to have opinions about what went on there, but you shouldn't go into any of these things expecting anything. There's no precedent for any of these these little reveal party things that these people are having. There's no precedent. There's nothing that says Microsoft went into this conference saying we're not showing games. I'm telling you right now. And PlayStation went into it saying we're going to show a lot of games. So obviously you're going to get what they tell you that they said there was. It's not like E3 where we're like, okay, this is going to be E3. They're going to show us what we expect to see. This is whatever they wanted to show us, they were going to show us. And now everyone's like, where's the games? Well, you know, there's already lists of games for Xbox. But Sony, what's going on with your DRM policies? Today, there was a huge rumor going around about how they're restructuring their DRM policies based on the fact that Microsoft is catching a lot of flack for them revealing it. So there's so many details missing for the PS4 right now. Xbox is getting hate on for revealing details. Where's the games for Xbox? PlayStation cares more about their fans. We're getting like all these weird, I don't know. We're forming coalitions, seems like.
Well, I think that I mean, there are differing strategies here, and I think that they will extend beyond the reveals for sure. I think that it would not be outside. I don't think anyone here would be surprised if Xbox moves in this more general, entertainment center strategy. And like, it's just kind of their feeling that, let's face it, the $60 game is dying out. You can't make AAA games anymore.
Josh, you're Daft Punkting on us right now.
It's something. It's something on our end, so don't worry about it.
Keep talking, but I just have to state that out so people don't think that we're just bad.
Yeah.
So there's the $60 game, the AAA game, isn't going to stick around for forever. It's quickly losing ground, and they need to find a way to combat that. And Xbox is going to try and combat that by saying, "Hey, our box does more than play games. It does a ton of different things." And Sony's going to try and counter that by really putting a lot of stock in indies and trying to release a lot of $15 to $30 games. I don't think that those strategies, if that's like how they diverge, would surprise anyone.
Also, it's kind of like stupid when people are just are picking sides based on specs. Just because, like, think about like when we were kids and like a PlayStation came out and an Xbox came out, you weren't like, I don't even know the specs on the Xbox. You're just like, it was about the games. It was about what you're going to be able to, like, with the content on them. People right now are already picking sides based on what type of RAM PlayStation's using compared to.
In 2005 is when Xbox came out, dude. Xbox 360, 2005, 7 years ago. We've come a long way in social connectivity. I mean, whether we had the internet back then, of course, way back when. Facebook was around and it was fine, but now we are so interconnected, far more than even then, that people, they have to side with something in order to form their tribe on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And it begets itself. Like, people fuel each other. The PlayStation people, the PlayStation and PC people are all waiting for Microsoft to do something a little fucked up, and then it's all over. Same thing with Xbox people. I mean, everybody knows that Xbox people are, they're typically defined as how Americans are defined, like the dumb Call of Duty type people, because they're gonna hate on Sony without much fact. It's just. I just hate when people take sides, and it bothers me, and it takes away from. It's the difference between. I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit here, but it's the difference between someone who loves games and someone who, I don't know. I can't even think of anything.
Just wants to be a part of a group,
right? I mean, I'm gonna own both. I would hope anybody that. Man, I'm digging myself into a corner.
But part of the problem is that most people can't afford both. You're gonna spend upwards of
these things are going to be expensive. No,
yeah,
I think they're going to be $500-600.
$500,
and
I bet.
Because you spend so much money on something, you don't want to feel like you made the wrong choice. It's the same. The Android and iPhone people have been going at it for years because you spend so much money. You want to say, I got the best product. Yeah. You got the wrong product.
Yeah, you don't really think of it like that because we can buy this stuff with we have jobs and shit and we're like grown ups. But there's a lot of kids out there who are going to buy this and they have to pick one.
Right.
Parents like, pick one. Which one is it going to be? And if your friend gets the PlayStation and you get the Xbox, and PlayStation ends up having better games, you kind of feel like a dick.
Well, you know what? You should just talk to your friends and all get the same thing. If that's what you're into, if you're into gaming with your friends, then fine. If not, just go where the games are. I don't know. I don't like when there's hate. When there's not enough information to hate it.
I will say something about this Xbox One 15 game thing. I started thinking about it recently. I started thinking about, those numbers, 15 exclusives, 8 original IPs is impressive. That's an impressive number. But then I started thinking about it. And we already know 4 of those IPs have already been announced. And you have Rise, Forza, help me out, guys. Quantum Break,
right.
And we know there will be a Halo,
and they're going to do like 3 or 4 new Angry Birds games.
Well, and there'll definitely be a Gears of War. There'll definitely be a Fable. So that's 6 games right there. Now we're at so there's 9 games that we don't know about, and then you start to like think about that. And so let's say that 3 or 4 of those are going to be Kinect games. And all of a sudden you're getting like 6 games we don't know about. That number begins to shrink very quickly about how cool those games are going to be.
Right, we don't know what the hell they're going to be, dude. Honestly, they could be awful.
Did you see the tweet from the Oculus guy?
No, what did he say?
It was like, let me make sure this is from him and not someone else like fucking with the Reddit thing. No, someone was requesting, someone said something about like if the Oculus comes with the PS4 has my vote.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah, but then there's a tweet and it was I say Oculus, you say, and it was 4 dashes, Xbox.
Oh. Well, Xbox seems to be integrating things that aren't just games.
But I have to make sure that wasn't just some bullshit.
The Oculus is a little ways off, for the developers at least. So not for the launch window, obviously. So, Josh, you have a point. They obviously inflate that number as much as they can with whatever titles they can.
Yeah. And that's not to say that those so even if there are 4 or 5 Kinect games, that's still potentially 4 not only new IPs, but 4 potentially really great franchises that, are going to continue into the Xbox legacy. It is early to say anything. You take a look at, PlayStation 4's reveal, the games that they announced, 3 or 4 of them are third-party games. Watch Dogs coming to everyone. Destiny's coming to everyone. Diablo 3's on PC. You start to break that down. Suddenly, Sony's conference isn't looking that impressive. What did they really reveal? Killzone, that's great. Infamous, Second Son. Infamous is really cool. But then, that list gets very small as well.
Yeah, there's no volume there, man. There's neither console, I think, has anything going for it that we won't know before E3. Like, we have to wait for E3 before we pass judgment.
I completely fucked that up before. The guy who said it was actually the president of Sony.
Oh.
But that's kind of weird because Sony... it could be Sony. S-O-N with the 4 things. Oh.
Makes more sense.
Yep. Going to bed.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's there is a lot of speculation now, and there only can be speculation. But I will say that just out of what we know, out of what's actually been said, and you look at what's happening outside these conferences, once Microsoft's conference ends, they're talking about DRM, always online, even during their conference, they're talking about partnerships with the NFL, live TV. And then Sony, once their conference ends, they're talking about developers. They're going to indie developers. And that's kind of, you look at Sony, if you look at their headlines recently, it feels like every other week there's a headline that Sony was reaching out to this developer to try and bring them to their console.
Well, we know that Sony's always been more friendly with that market just based on the fees that Microsoft charges for people to get on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah. So like I said, there's clearly divergent paths. I feel like there's clearly divergent paths, but that doesn't mean that Xbox is going to be worthless as a console. They could have a lot of really cool games. I still feel like I need to get an Xbox because I want to see what their future is, And to that degree, Microsoft talked a lot about functionality. We still don't know what the fuck the PS4 does aside from basically sharing video.
Right. There really isn't much detail on PS4, and for people to say that it's won something already, it drives me crazy. So one thing I did really like about Microsoft is the controller. A lot of this we talked about on our podcast last week. After the reveal, but once more details started to surface, the controller looks really, really cool. I'm really excited for the vibration on the triggers.
That's actually cool.
I didn't see that.
That is cool.
Well, there's pressure. What's it called, Josh? It's called like pound feedback, pressure feedback. So like if you're pulling the trigger of a gun, it'll like, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Little
time crisis kind of action.
Little time crisis, yeah. So it could kick. It can give pressure. If you're doing a quick time event or something, it could give you pressure or feedback. They vibrate. They have their own separate. I don't know the technical speak for what these things are called. So they have their own vibration control on each thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really. I thought that was really cool. And apparently, there's a less lag with the controller.
Good. It's good.
A lot of improvements to Kinect, even though what's bad is that Kinect set a really bad predisposition for itself by being terrible and having terrible games this generation. People don't trust it for next generation, but I think they've made some really great improvements from what they've shown. You know, it monitors your heartbeat.
Perfect. That's perfect.
It's perfect.
I can see how fat I am. I hope it can tell me how fat I am.
Well, if you're playing something like Resident Evil, say, and it could monitor your fear. It has a fear meter. I'm making that up. I have no idea. But, you know, everyone's worried that this thing is going to steal your soul and charge you when you blink. So we just have to wait. There's not, both of them have Blu-ray drives.
I will say right now that if there is a fee to play used games on the Xbox, there's no way there won't be one for Sony. Publishers will not let Sony get away with that.
Well, the thing about the fee is that they're getting fed back to the publishers. Money is being taken from GameStop, basically, and being fed back to the publishers. So that's incentive, is what you're saying, right?
Well, yeah. So basically, like, you know, this whole thing with Microsoft is set up to make it a little bit, make it easier for everyone to get the money that they deserve. And like you said, publishers want that money. You know, they don't see any money from used game sales. They should get it. And Sony is not going to get away with doing anything less than Microsoft doing. Publishers will say, okay, Sony, you're not going to give us that money for used games. We'll just take our business to Microsoft.
Right.
So
they both have 8 gigs of RAM, but apparently Microsoft has 5 partitions for games, right? And there's 3 more that's going to the console functionality, right? Everything else?
I don't know.
Different processor, 500 gig hard drive for the Xbox One. We don't know yet for Sony. Smart Glass versus PS Vita. We'll see what kind of integration. I'm excited to see that, being that I have a Vita.
Yeah,
we'll see. They're both with the cloud, with the cloud stuff. I never really use cloud. Do you anybody use cloud here?
No, I'm afraid of the.
Yeah, I'm afraid of that cloud.
I'm afraid.
Like for your saves and stuff like that, you don't save to the cloud?
I don't put cloud saves.
What if that cloud?
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't. You know what? I just don't know how it works. In my mind, I'm like, I want to put something up there. What if it gets lost?
Yeah, that cloud's gonna go somewhere else.
You know,
my PlayStation is actually maxed out for memory because I have games downloaded to it. So I do all my PlayStation saves are to the cloud.
Also, Kinect versus Eye. We don't really know much about the Eye yet, though. Neither of them have announced what their subscription model is going to look like. That's kind of interesting to me, but obviously save pricing for E3. Bluetooth, trophies and achievements will be following through. Yeah, a bunch more stuff. I don't know. I'm just reading stats here, but there's really not enough information. It's going to be fun when E3 comes out.
Yeah.
To actually talk about these things. But is that it for Xbox and PS4?
Guess so. Well, we talked about it a lot on Tuesday. So.
Yeah, we did. But a lot's happened since then in terms of the anger of the internet. And Sony's doing the right thing by trying to take a little bit of advantage when they can and trying to restructure. Kind of like you said before, Greg, they're going to be... since Microsoft threw that stuff out there, they're going to be changing things before E3 to try to get the upper hand. And that happens. I mean, until the very last second that Sony goes on stage, maybe because Microsoft is earlier in the day, Sony might even change something for their conference later in the evening. You know?
Maybe, yeah.
That's just how it goes. So, are we all sleeping?
Yeah. Tired.
Yeah, I'm done talking about Xbox and Sony. We'll find out more at E3.
Yeah. I'm sorry I went on a little thing before. I've just been a little frustrated with, I don't know. Just
part
hate,
of the culture.
Just hatred, man.
Yeah.
There's so much hate, and I don't get it. Is it like man, I don't know if people get off on it.
They do. Who cares? Fuck them.
And to some people, that's like how they spend their Saturday afternoon is like on a forum, you know, posting stuff. That's fine. Everyone gets their... They could do that, or they could, you know, watch Ken Burns documentaries. One's going to educate you more, but
22 hours of baseball documentary.
No, he was talking about the forum. He was going to educate
Buzzing.
What else do we got to talk about? Is there anything else?
Anything else in news?
And that's basically dominated the news cycle has been Xbox. I mean, as we were talking about before the show started, like there's so little that's been happening. I think everyone's just keeping their cards close to the chest before E3.
Yeah.
One thing I shared with you guys before is that Sony sent a gold PlayStation 1 to the creator of Minecraft as an invite to the Notch. Marcus Notch. What's his last name?
I don't know.
Persson?
Something
like that?
Swedish or something.
Yeah, but they sent him a gold. It's not real gold, but it's like a fancy PlayStation 1 as an invite to E3. So
how heavy would that solid gold PlayStation
8 pounds?
It would cost a lot to ship.
8 pounds.
About the weight of a pie.
Something like a pie, 6 to 8
maybe
pounds.
Maybe a pie. Yeah. you imagine getting hit in the face with an 8-pound pie?
That's what Gregg thought when we did the whole pie thing.
I have heard that conversation now, and I think you would have to bake 8 and 20 blackbirds into a pie to make it weigh 8 pounds.
Definitely.
So they're trying to get Minecraft over there on Sony.
Yeah. And they're courting a lot of developers right now. It's a very interesting strategy.
Soak them up. I don't know, man. All right, so you're gonna get Fuse, huh? Or not
yeah,
Fuse.
I'm picking up Fuse this week. I'm doing a review for it on New Game Network. How
much money are they paying us for that plug, Josh?
We're gonna. I will give you nothing. I don't have any money.
I'm just kidding. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up here, guys. Have we been on long enough? Everyone's fucking...
I think we've said... Josh, you have anything else you want to talk about?
You can talk about how much of a Resident Evil fan I am.
Okay,
no,
we can't because you are not. All right, everybody. Josh, you know what? Do me a favor. Go play Resident Evil 1 again and come back next week.
Yeah, and you know what? Take notes.
Would you want? Okay, you want a full report?
Play the first... Give us a report on the first hour of the game.
Resident Evil 1 is a fun game.
Dude, you've played it?
No, he hasn't played it.
I'm kidding. All right.
All right,
Josh, thanks again, like usual, pal.
Hello.
Greg.
Yeah.
Wake up, man.
All right, I'm up.
It's time to go home.
Oh, good.
Get the fuck out of here.
I want you to do 3 to 4 lines of Coke before the next podcast.
I did 3 to 4 lines before this one. I need to do like 9 to 10 next time.
We might not have a podcast next week because Greg might be in the hospital.
8 pounds of lines. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining this week. We'll talk next week. Hope everyone had a really good Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooray. See you guys next week. Oh, we have a Vine account now. Make sure you check out that Vine account. I guess that's the new thing all the cool kids are doing with the Vine. AwayCast.com. Twitter, Facebook. Bullshit.
Goodbye.
See you later, kids.
Goodbye.